So I think Microsoft has maybe one more big push with like a new gen console to maybe try to win people back, the way to try to, get people back in line with what Xbox is all about. You know what I'm saying? It's like I think it has to be some of the things that are going to get people excited about the platform again. And for me, anyway, when I look at this and I go, okay, well, what are we going to do as far as as being Xbox fans? That what are we going to get that's going to make us, want to buy another Xbox? And I've been honest about that, because when you look at it, if Microsoft is releasing, their Xbox games on PlayStation at that point, or pretty much all of them, like there's plenty of rumors to suggest that they are going to do that. If they are happening to do that, what is really the reason to buy an Xbox at that point? Some people will probably say Game Pass, and I mean, I guess that makes some kind of sense, but there's obviously got to be, I think, more to it than that in order to kind of get people into what Microsoft has to offer. It just has to be. They have to be able to offer something that no other company has and won't be able to get. So I think you have to have some kind of exclusives there in order to get gamers excited about that platform itself. So we'll see if that ends up being the case, but this could very much help launch something. Like, I feel like Microsoft needs something like this in order to actually get out there and be viable and have some kind of future in the console space. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews, back with yet another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel. It means a lot to me personally. A simple like is really all I ask. I do daily gaming content, if you didn't know. I try to be fun yet informative, and hopefully that shows in the videos. I try to let that be known, so that if it's up your alley, hey, please subscribe and like the stuff. Now, again, this is interesting because it really plays off of what Microsoft is doing. If you look at what Sony is doing, so Sony recently announced that the PS5 lifespan is expected to be similar to the PS4, which really opens up quite a big opening there for Microsoft to do something, right? To do something maybe they haven't done before. So Hideki Nishimo says the PlayStation 5 will have a similar life cycle to the PS4, noting that even when the next system is out, the PS5 will still be around. Gamers are already looking forward to seeing the next PlayStation system. However, the PS5 appears to be just hitting its stride, as a new array of games set for release in the coming years may soon prove that audiences have barely seen what the system is capable of. And again, I'm a PS5 owner, so like when you look at it and you go, okay, they started off kind of strong, and then they kind of puttered out a little bit in terms of the first party support. They made some bad bets on some games that people weren't really interested in, like Concord. And you still have Fair Game, which is a game I think not a lot of people care about. But anyway, it's likely that the next PlayStation system is a long ways off from hitting the market, but it hasn't stopped the rumor mill from starting up. With the arrival of the PlayStation 5 Pro, it's catalyzed a discussion around the PS5's life cycle and the presence of its follow-up, with many wondering what particular advancements the PS6 would be even offering. Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Hideki Nishino wants to remind gamers that even when the new system is on its way, the PS5 isn't going anywhere. Translation of a Famitsu article reads and reveals that Nishino believes that the PS5's lifecycle will match that of the PS4, and it won't get in the way of the next PlayStation system's release. During the interview, talked about PlayStation's 30th anniversary, Mr. Nishino was asked about the future of the PlayStation brand, and he noted that like the PS4, the system will last long, and he believes the hardware shouldn't be delayed if new technology is available. He explained on this concept and kind of expanded on it, noting that the time frame for new hardware releases traditionally falls in line with the latest technology advancements, and even while more advanced systems are introduced, there's still a place for older products. He added that even today there are many PS4 games being played. While the amount of content for the PS5 increases, this implies that when the next PlayStation system comes out, the PS5 will stick around. receiving plenty of support, while the PS6 pushes the boundaries of what these consoles can achieve. Mr. Nishino didn't exactly telegraph what the release schedule is for the PS6, but it's possible to infer that the next console could be released as early as 2027, matching the gap between the PS4 and PS5. It becomes a bit trickier to predict the next system's arrival when factoring in the PS4, the Pro consoles though, because the PS4 Pro was released in 2016, 4 years before the PS5, but the PS5 Pro came out in 2024. This could signal that the PS6 is better geared for a 2028 launch, but based on Nishino's phrasing, when the improvements in hardware justify the next console's presence, that's when we'll see it. So I mean, if they do stick to like a 2020 8 launch, let's say, I think that really kind of opens up Microsoft to kind of take advantage of, you know, the situation and get out there and kind of do their own thing. You know, like, again, I've kind of mentioned this numerous times before, but you know, you have Microsoft in a sort of weird spot because, you know, they're putting their games everywhere, so it makes their platform less attractive. But then you have PlayStation, who is out there kind of doing their own thing still, and they're like, okay, well, we're still going to do a next-gen console. Consoles are still a big deal. But I think both Sony and Microsoft are going to be heavily reliant on what they sell this generation. Just like I think Sony came around a little bit too late on the, you know, cross-gen stuff. I mean, if you think about it, PS4 came out in 2013, and they had PS4 was cross-gen, or PS5 was cross-gen, you know, until 2022. So, you know, almost 10 years. And there's still games coming out for the PS4, by the way. I mean, and it still fully supports, you know, the Fortnites, the Maddens, the FIFAs, the Minecraft, the soccer, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, you know, people, you know, obviously are going to continue to play those games on that platform for as long as they can, because not everybody's a hardcore gamer, and not everybody is like super into, you know, the latest and greatest things, or cares about all the pixels and frames and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, when I look at that and I think, hey, what can Microsoft do to kind of combat that? You know, they could come out with a console earlier, right? If you want a blueprint to how to beat Sony, they already have one. You know, just look to the Xbox 360. Now, yeah, they're doing things a little bit more weird, but what that 360 did was got people excited, right? I mean, think about it. You know, people go, oh, well, console gaming won't grow, it can't grow, etc., etc. And I beg to differ, because if you go back and look at the, you know, the Nintendo versus Sega argument, right? In the 80s, you had, like, in the late 80s, you had the Master System and Nintendo, and both those combined less than 100 million sold. And, you know, people don't really believe it, but, you know, the Genesis and the Super Nintendo, both those combined are less than 100 million sold. But then when you factor in the PlayStation, boom, that thing sells 100 million units itself. So, you know, console gaming can grow if you have the content and if you have the hardware to get people excited. And I think that's what Microsoft has to do, whether or not it's, you know, a console along with a handheld or whatever the case may be. I still think you have to have things out there that really, really get people amped up about the future of, you know, everything that you're offering, you know, and Microsoft can do that. You know, they have great content. I think that it really just kind of comes down to if they're going to be able to get that content out fast enough, if they're going to be able to kind of get, you know, everybody on board with what's coming. And I think most of all, really what they need is, you know, a situation where they can actually have stuff that people are like, oh man, did you see what Xbox got? You know, we got to get some of that, you know, and I think that can be something incredible kind of going forward, you know, and that's what the hope is anyway. So I think Microsoft could be in a very, very good situation going forward, you know, thanks to something like Game Pass. And, you know, it could really put Sony on the ropes a little bit, you know, because Sony has gotten very complacent and, you know, they're very cocky with what they're kind of doing and what they kind of offer lately. So I would like to see, you know, Microsoft go out there and say, hey, you know, we're gonna, you know, give it our all. You know, we got another generation in this. I ain't heard no bell yet. You know, let's get out there and try to, you know, get people excited about our platform again, you know, and I think we might see that. It really also kind of just depends on what, you know, happens this year. You know, I will know a lot about Microsoft's plans by how they treat this year in particular, right? What I mean by that is if they are, you know, all about, you know, putting everything on PlayStation and Nintendo, then yeah, I think they're probably finished. But if they, keep the core franchises to Xbox and, innovate with the hardware and, continue to add to Game Pass and make it a great value, I think, they could be tremendous in the future. So, they could be very much a competitive platform once again. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this, though. Let me know down below. Would you guys be interested in an Xbox if it launched before the next PlayStation? Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe. Rack 'em up. Prep Gamer out.